we kept showing up to job sites and they're like, we're ready. And then we get there and there's no drywall up yet. And we're like, you're not ready. And we got tired of just constantly telling them all one at a time what ready means.
ATWF, welcome once again. I am your humble host, Steve Diggins with Wood Floor Business, and also my day job with the Specialty Forest Products New England. Today on All Things Wood Floor, we're heading to Cincinnati by way of Northern Kentucky to sit down with a craftsman who built his reputation the hard way, through grit, humility, and relentless commitment to doing the job the right way. Today, Josh Hansman, owner of 50 Grit Flooring, joins us to talk about the journey from early struggles to becoming one of the most respected refinishers in his region. We're going to dig into the lessons he's learned along the way, the mindsets that keeps him improving, and the stories that shape the way he runs his business today. If you're a pro, a newcomer, or just someone who loves to hear how a real craftsman rises, this is a conversation you want to stick around for. Floor pros around the world, let's get to it. Josh Hansman, 50 Grit Flooring. Welcome to All Things Wood Floor.
Yes, sir.
So let's go over this. It's a Saturday. What were you doing this morning? You were all over the place just like me.
I had to coat a floor. I mean, we got it popped yesterday and we didn't want it to sit till Monday, so we coated it Saturday, right?
So you must have had a busy morning. What was it you guys were working on? A refinish, a sand finish, a new floor?
It was a house getting ready to go for sale. So it was a refinish. We did the whole first floor, about 1,500 feet, set of steps, and some base plates.
You contribute. I read about stuff that they put together for Wood Floor Business. I write for them, and Kim Walgren will say, "Hey, these are the interesting people right now you might want to talk to and get some information on." And there's a lot of stuff online about you, especially on that website, about just how you transform your business, how what you say, selfless acts are very important for how you operate and who you are as a person. You got crazy stories about chandeliers and French knots, and I want to talk about your design awards, your craftsmanship, all the stuff that'll come into play that makes it fascinating to speak with you. Tell me a little bit about your company, how it started, and where you're located.
50 Grit Flooring, man, we're in Cincinnati, Ohio. It's really weird because I grew up doing construction. My dad was a building manager at an office complex. So I grew up in that place doing construction, metal frame and drywall and things like that. And then eventually I just fell into hardwood floors, worked for a while. And then in '07, I got fired from that job. And then I just went out on my own. And I was on my own for about 5 years, but I was just a solo guy, knew nothing about business. It was just you do the work and you get paid and all the money I get is mine. Like, there's nothing to it.
Everybody really want from their business. It's freedom. That's it. I don't care what you're doing. It's that freedom to say I can do what I want to do today and do what I like to do today.
Well, it was weird. It wasn't like that for me because when I got fired from that job, I knew I was good at hardwood and I went around to all the other companies in Cincinnati and nobody would hire me. So I ended up finding a guy that would hire me on as a sub. So that's where I decided to do it. And I had an inlay that I made for Cincinnati Bengal fans, and I traded that to him for a nail gun. So I could, have a tool that I could use to go do installs with. And, I did that for about 5 years, and then I decided I want to be on my own because it was too risky. I was scared of what would happen if I got hurt, because I didn't have any savings or anything at that time. So I went to work for another company, and I worked there for like 12 years. And then that guy decided he wanted to retire, and he wanted me to start my own business and to buy out his assets in good faith and So that was 3 years ago. And that was a crazy transition because he came to me and said, we're going to do this and we're going to do it in 90 days. And I'm thinking, oh, shit.
Right.
And he's like, you gotta, you don't have to make a decision now, but I would like to know a yes or no by this weekend.
When you did that, did you look at it and go, wow, I'm glad I did this? Or would you have preferred, looking back, I would have just bought everything brand new and moved forward? That seems like that would be tougher.
Yes, that would be a lot tougher because this way I got the equipment. I kept the same employees. I kept the same location, the same warehouse. So it wasn't having to move in. And then the best part about it is my former owner, he stayed on to be my operations manager.
Perfect.
So, yeah, so, I mean, I had a complete office, and I still have not moved into the office. I'm still on the field. I got an admin, payables, salesperson, and operations guy. So what do I need to go to the office for?
No,
Um,
I tried that. My dad came to
it
work for me, and every day he'd go, "Go get your jeans on. They need you." I had to go
yeah.
back out in the field. Did you inherit 50 grit, or did you change it?
No, it was another company. It was called Cincinnati Floor and Window Coverings. That company did carpet and hardwood and tile and window blinds as well.
Okay.
And then we just decided to cut it all back and just do hardwood. So
What year did you start 50 grit?
it'd be 3 years ago. So it's 2022, maybe.
Oh, alright, so that's current. So how many people
Yeah.
call it fitty grit?
How many people?
Anybody go,
Everybody.
"Is this fitty grit?"
Everybody.
See, I knew it. I just had to ask.
That's where it came from. My original boss for the first company I worked for, he it was when 50 Cent first came out. So he always come
Exactly.
in to the job site and be like, 50 grit in the house. And so then
"What up,
while I was
Fitty?"
working,
Did he call
yeah,
you
what's up,
Fitty?
50? So while I was working for another company, I ended up getting a TikTok account and I had 50 grit on there and it grew to over 100,000 followers. So when it came time to pick a name, I'm like, this is kind of out there, but it's already established. People already know it. Let's just roll with it. And it stuck. I mean, it, it's a great name, I feel
I
like.
like
So,
it. Like, everybody's got, Pat's floors, Fred's floors, Mike's floors, perfect floors, adventure, whatever. But 50 grit. Did you build the whole thing off of just referrals and that type of thing? Like, how did you originally build everything together to just get your customer base rolling?
well, it was good faith. So, like, I took over everything from that other company. I worked for that other company, Cincinnati Floor and Window Covering, for about 10 years. And the whole time I worked for them, I was trying to build up my name because I didn't know what was coming next. So that's where I had social media. I was all over it and Facebook and all the groups. And I was trying to establish my name. I knew all the contractors and everything. But then the second that I became 50 grit, it's like, I don't want my name out there no more. I want to promote 50 grit. So then I tried to do everything I could to get my name off of it because I don't want people calling saying, I want Josh to come sand my floors. I'm like, yeah, I don't, I don't want to come sand your floors. I want my company to come sand your floors. I want to send Will to sand your floors or something.
You were
So
smart to
it
get
was,
ahead of that. That happens with everybody.
mhm,
The two guys show up, they immediately call you and they go, "Why aren't you here? Why aren't I there?" "Well, you did the estimate, you talked to me, everybody says you're great. Why are your guys here?" "Because I trust that they're the guys that are building my reputation right now. They learned from me or
right.
themselves." But so right there, that's the base thing in this whole industry. I don't care if you're a distributor, whoever you are. Getting quality people is the hardest thing in my career is to hire people, not let them go, not fire them. It's getting people that mesh and have that talent. And you get somebody fantastic. Next thing you know, they're Pete's floors or whoever it is, or 60 grit floors. How do you manage all that when you're new and you're getting going and you're building everything? How do you put the team together?
Whoa. Well, yeah, when I first took over, it was me and one other guy doing
Good.
installs.
Okay.
And then we're up to 8 installers now in house. So I'm out there with them. I think that's a big part of it because when we go to the job site, I'll grab the edger and let somebody else get on the power drive, or I'll do scraping corners. So I'm a big believer in you learn from example. So if I'm out there busting my butt, then I'm in the trenches with them, and I think they see that and respect that, and you know,
Well, what does your portfolio look like? See, we have when I was building businesses in Florida, they would come in and they'd say, "I only sand, or I only install." If they did everything, they were from New York. Here, a lot of guys do everything, and it's as a distributor, I see them all. There's a lot of some guys are great at pre-finish, some guys are terrible at pre-finish, some guys are good at gluing, some guys aren't, some guys can sand, some guys are still learning. When you're putting all this together, did you separate it and say, "That's my install crew, that's my sanding crew," or do they all do everything?
nope. I've every company I've ever worked for, it's start to finish,
Yeah.
and I adopted that from back in my early days doing the office construction with drywalling, because I came up from the bottom. When I first started, I was the guy that got to sand the drywall, and I'm like, this is crazy. I'll mud it, and then I won't have to sand it as much. And then, eventually I learn how to hang it. And it's like, yeah, sanding's easy now if I get to hang it and I get to finish it. And I think it's the same way with the floors. If you have a guy come in behind an installer, they're going to pick out everything the installer did, and that's going to be their excuse why they didn't do a good sand job. So let the guys do it from start to finish, and then that way the only person they can blame is themselves.
And you said you did drywall?
Yeah.
We had this discussion yesterday. I was telling somebody they were bitching about the floor guy that got some dust in their house. And I'm like, the three worst, and you can rank them for me, are concrete dust, drywall dust, and hardwood flooring dust. And a lot of the equipment you see today comes from them pioneering how to clean up all that stuff. Because I had a buddy of mine who get drywall dust, and I said, you're with me every day. Why are you spray misting? You're creating wood filler. Like,
Yeah.
concrete dust. Which was worse? This stuff's terrible.
It would be between concrete dust and drywall dust.
Yeah. Wood dust,
Yeah.
you go in the shower, you blow your nose out, you got you're good to
Yeah,
go.
concrete dust is probably the worst because you don't really know how bad it is, but it gets in the air, and before you know it, it's bad. At least the drywall dust, you can see it, your face turns white, you're like, "It's all over me," but the concrete dust kinda sneaks in there, and I think it does more damage to you.
I think if it gets in you and gets wet, it's gonna turn into concrete. So
It
I'm
it
a li
does.
so in the portfolio of your flooring business, right? Showroom, no showroom, everything's up?
Yeah. Yeah, so
Okay.
after about a year and a half in business, I decided to move across the parking lot, and we increased everything. We doubled the size of our showroom. We're up to just under 1,000 feet for a showroom, 2,000 square foot warehouse. So everything got doubled with that move just because we started growing pretty quick, and that's been my goal from the beginning is I knew I established a name and I knew growth was inevitable. So the whole only thing we had to do was keep up with the growth.
And then what does it look like? Do you do high end and next day you're just doing some living room somewhere? And do you do LVTs and repairs? And
Yeah.
like, what are the different categories of things that you do?
We do everything. Yeah, we do LVPs. Like I said, we got a showroom, so we are a retail store as well. We try to do a mobile shopping is our goal. Every now and then people come to the showroom, but it's appointment only. It's only a few times a week. We try to keep everything mobile. That way it's convenient for the customer. But in Cincinnati, we got everything. Got old floors, new floors. It seems like our biggest thing is working with a contractor that knocks out the wall between the dining room and the kitchen. We got to lace it all together and then sand the whole first floor. That seems like our most common job. A lot of repairs.
Like
So-
repairs are repairs. You ever do floor surgery? Like somebody
Yeah.
does a terrible job. I used to go out with a scalpel and a lamp on my head and just, yeah. Sometimes you got to
Yeah.
get that, and usually pays real well to do those.
Yeah, it's usually Lowe's moving in a refrigerator, it seems like. You
Yeah, well, when we were slow when I had my first company, we had the answering machine, and we would put on it, Cherrystone Custom Floors is not accepting any more work until, pick 2 months ahead. We had no work. We just thought, while we're gone, it'll create a little buzz, and then people will ask us. But we would do puff and coats on Fridays. Furniture companies, we would write them letters and say, if you damage a floor, let us know. We can repair it. Anything. Because we weren't going to get the really cool high end. Do you get that? Do you get like mosaics and inlays and borders and things and medallions?
No, I mean, we get a couple here and there. It seems like herringbones are pretty hot, so we'll get a few herringbones. We did get to do a basket weave this last year.
Huh.
Most of the stuff that I post that are the really cool floors are the ones that I went out and find either in my own house or for a family member. And a lot of times there, it's you're just doing it for experience.
Yeah, you got to
I mean,
get.
you get paid, but it's not what you should. But you got to you can't do that kind of floor unless you've done it before and know the mistakes that you're going to make. And if you want to do them, then you just got to figure out a way to get them done.
It's an awkward little industry. I had a buddy, I called him one day and I said, "Where are you?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm up in Sandown," which is, if you're in New Hampshire, even you don't know where Sandown is. And I'm like, "What are you doing out there?" He goes, "Log cabin. There's cat pee everywhere. I got to replace some boards." I go, "Dude, you were in the White House a week ago." Like a week ago. He goes, yeah, don't remind me. Like when you do it, kind of comes your way. But if you're in Cincinnati, Ohio, is that, I could have my geography wrong. Are you close to Kentucky?
I live in Kentucky. So
Oh, you do?
yes.
How close is it? That's pretty close.
Yeah, well, I mean, I cross the river every day. So I live in Northern Kentucky. My shop is in Loveland, which is about 30 minutes from my house, and it's just across the river. So we always drive across the river. Sometimes to get to Indiana, you drive through Kentucky to get there. So it's the tri-state area.
I've done a lot of podcasting, and you talk with people, you'd be surprised. Like, I'm talking 90% of these people, even if they're from Boston, are either from the lower parts of Indiana, Ohio, Illinois,
Mhm.
that there's a even wood floor business being out where they are in Wisconsin. It's it seems like a cultural mecca for where people, flooring people are coming from.
If I wanted
So
to take a guess, I would say there's like over 200 flooring companies in our area,
right.
in the greater Cincinnati area.
Wow.
It's every time I go to a distributor, and I've been going there for 20 years, I will meet a new guy that has also been going there for 20 years that I never even heard of
Never
before.
even knew.
And it's insane. And everybody's got plenty of work, which blows my mind somehow.
Well, I have, like, 3 competitive distributors. We all used to work together. A lot of them used to work for me, and same thing. We get along great because the distributors we have couldn't cover all of New England, so we trade a lot, we compete a lot. It's friendly. It's just like anybody in flooring.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys will tell me in podcasts, you start young as my competition. Next thing you know, you have a cup of coffee with the guy and you're sharing projects together. You're learning from each other. That kind of
Yeah.
craftsmanship. Do you ever work with other flooring companies? It's pretty much your guys are so busy.
Yeah, we're good. We're a large enough size that we don't work with other guys very much. There's a couple other companies that I'll sub to every now and then if we got extra work. But I'm not hesitant to call them and ask them for advice on a job if I come across something that kind of got me overthinking it. So I talked to quite a few guys in Cincinnati a lot about jobs that we're on,
Cool.
and they do the same.
When I was going back to wood floor business, you get was it the 2025 design award?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
tell me a little bit about that. What was that?
That was another thing that we did when we moved into the new building. We have a conference room, and it was just a square room, and it's an idea that I've been waiting on forever to just wanting to do that idea. That idea has been sitting in my head for over 5 years. I had it drawn out on paper and just kind of waiting for the right room to do it in. And it was nice because we had some leftover material. It was a Carlisle 10-inch pre-finish. I'm like, this is perfect. And it was just enough to do it. And we cut down every board from 2-inch width to a 7-inch width. So every board was tapered, and then it just kind of laid it out and it did a big like circular spiral design.
Yeah. And what happens with that? You look for the magazine to come out and you go, "Hey, they're taking submissions," and you sent it in, or did somebody say, "Hey, you should send this somewhere?"
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we sense it in, and, I like entering everything I can. And it's just an honor to be able to enter, but to be able to win that is so much. It's awesome because it's now part of our showroom. So when people come in, we got the magazine article, pinned up on the wall, plaqued up, and then we can show them that floor and then explain to them like, oh, it's an award-winning floor right here that you get to walk on. So it actually adds a little bit to our office to make it a showpiece.
Anybody that's listening to the podcast or goes to Wood Floor Business online or gets the actual magazine, they could just go to Wood Floor Business and they'll have nice, beautiful photos of all the work that you do and articles that you've written and everything. And they get this search engine so you can just throw, Josh Hansman in there and find everything that you do. But one of the things I went over was, did you write what was it, top 10 things that happened in
Well, I
2025?
sent that to you and Kim. That was
Yeah.
just something we've been doing a mail campaign, just something to try to reach all of our clients, and we sent out something like that too. And it's just top 10 things we did last year. We try to reflect on, not to forget what we've accomplished, because after a year goes by, you don't really remember what all you did until you look back and actually sit down and look at it. And we did a lot in just last year. We've done a lot in every year we've been open, but every year it keeps getting bigger.
What inspired? So I've been doing this part of it for like 30 something years, and it's fun because at Christmas time when it gets slow, we'll all get together and get pizza and we'll talk and we'll go, who is the craziest customer we had? Who's our favorite customer? Who would we wish never walked in the door again? Who do we like, but we're just happy to take their money? We have all these categories and things. So what inspired you? And I read what you sent me, and we're going to go over it a little bit. What inspired you to reflect on that?
I mean, we just after the year goes by, sometimes you forget. And you don't realize everything you've done, and you got to reflect on it, or you don't even see it. And part of reflecting on it helps us to establish what we want to do next year. What did we do this year? And what did we do right or wrong? And how can we do it better next year? So it just helps us to plan for the next year as well.
You think it's a lot of it you're kind of winging it and you're going along and as you're making it up as you go? Do you have a lot of intention, like wisdom from last year? Like, you know what? We start the year with some intentions here. We need to plan. Here's what we'd like to get done. How do you shape that year?
I mean, you got to have intention because like a lot of the things we did was events, and in order to do an event, it doesn't just happen. There's a lot of planning that goes into doing an event. If you don't start planning early, and you have the date set, it's going to hit you, and you're not going to be ready, and it's not going to be successful. So you got to have a plan going in.
You reference in some of the stuff that you write about selfless acts and just giving without any expectations and how it returns things to you maybe that were unexpected. Give me a little about what you were talking about with that.
So I've discovered in business for myself that the selfless acts are always the most rewarding. And I think one of the reasons I'm on this show came back to a pin I made. We were at a house. This house was built in the 1800s, and they've done several add-ons. And I knew the contractor there, and walking through it, I'm like, this is a really cool story because this is an old farmhouse. I want to take one of the studs from the original part of the house and make a pen, like a writing pen out of it, because I got into a little hobby of turning pens. And my whole intention was to give it to the homeowner and not tell anybody, and just do it because I thought it was a cool gesture. And then, I posted it on one of the sites, and Kim saw it, and then she contacted you, and she's like, "This is a cool story. We're going to do a miracle on it, and you should talk to Steve." And I'm like, you know, I, I'm grateful that all of it happened, but it wasn't intentional. I was like, I didn't mean to do this in order to get all this attention. Like, this was supposed to be selfless, and that's what I meant by it. Like, every time I try to do something and not be rewarded by it, you get the biggest reward out of it.
Let's just do good things for people and because you want to. It's not
Right.
part of a plan.
Yeah. That's the goal. I mean, that's the world would be a happy place if everybody thought like that, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's a little crazy out there right now. So when you're looking at the components of your company, since you're driving the thing, you must look at all sorts of different factors. Like, what's your mindset with who has the leadership role? Who's taking care of customer relations? Are you concerned about brand identity? Like, what are the things when you're looking at your company each day? Which categories do you need to keep working on and focusing on? What are the big ones?
What is it? The squeaky wheel gets the oil, right?
Yep, your wheel gets
So,
greased.
which one needs looked at today? Which one's which one's being the biggest pain in the butt on this certain day is the one that gets the attention. So, but like I said, I came into this with a great office staff, so we can delegate some of it around and conquer a couple things all at once with the staff that I got. But usually, you just kind of go after the one that's screaming the loudest first.
You brought up educating builders, general contractors, hosting. Did you do stuff with the NARI, Southwest
Yeah,
Ohio?
NARI, NARI.
Yeah, what is that?
It's a National Association of Remodelers, and it's just a bunch of builders and contractors. And we hosted an event at our office. We wanted to bring them in and tell them what is a job, what is hardwood ready for a job. I mean, because we kept showing up to job sites, and they're like, "We're ready," and then we get there and there's no drywall up yet, and we're like, "You're not ready." And we got tired of just constantly telling them all one at a time what ready means. So we held an event. We had food there, and we actually had live music, and we ended up getting about 65 contractors in, and we sat them down classroom style and did a presentation of what is hardwood ready. Like, what's the temperature got to be? What's the humidity got to be? Like, all about climate, subfloor knowledge, crawl spaces. That was absolutely a eye opening because every single contractor left there and called me the next day and be like, Thank you for doing that. We didn't realize that. And we have a job site you need to come look at like today because it's coming up.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Number 9 you had written, I thought that was really wise. You called it job site readiness. To go to people that you're working with, builders and homeowners, and say, listen, we have to discuss job site readiness. You get to these job sites or you're worse, your team calls you and goes, oh, we can't work here today. Why not?
Right.
Because the plumber, the painter, that guy said you can't be here today. And, we're prima on the floor guys. We throw everybody out. Nobody cares about the drywall. The owner cares about their hardwood floors. So did you work with like general contractors to do that? Do you get that right up front? What was it? Was this little get together was all about people? Be ready for
It,
your subs.
it was all about contractors. Yeah. It was only contractors. And that was one where we're not like, we know what it does to our schedule, but we got enough jobs that we can go do something else. But man, it affects them guys too. And we're like, we're not doing this just because we're aggravated by it, but we realize it costs you money too when we get there and we say you're not ready yet. So we did it as an act to like help them out as much as it helps us as well.
Do you think that it helps to reduce friction on the job site? Does it improve relationships with like
Oh,
the people you
100%. I mean, because if they know ahead of time and then you show up, you like, you remember we did this whole presentation on this, and it really hasn't happened again. Like because we went kind of overboard. The whole presentation, we made pamphlets that we could pass out. That was a summary of the whole thing. So if they didn't have project managers that made it, at least they had something that they could give them to help do it internally on their own part too. So just trying to keep things moving.
Did you notice after the event did you see some returns and you saw the light bulb went on with some people? Did you see the result of your efforts here or there?
Ye Yeah,
Cool.
immediately.
Like, what'd
Like
you
the
see? Like,
like
what were people must have smartened up a little bit.
well, like the next day, one of the contractors called me, a project manager, and he said, "Everything that you said yesterday in that presentation, we see going on at this job site. We need you to come and walk through, even though we're a few months away before hardwood has to get done, just to help us make sure we're ready." And I'm like, that's perfect. That's what we want. And then everybody that came to the thing, we all gave them hygrometers so they could use them. And when I went to the job site, he had the hygrometer hung up. He had a couple of them hung up in different spots, like one in the basement and then one in the living room. And I'm like, this is perfect, man. I don't have to like test it. You already got it here and you can keep it monitored. So you know where it needs to be and make sure it's ready. So it was powerful.
Well, I think what you're doing is smart because the GC can look at it and go, wow, these guys really know their flooring. And it tells them, if you work with me, you're going to avoid a lot of problems because there could be a lot of problems.
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, our whole idea is we're a collaboration. We're not just in it for ourselves. We're in it to help our builders and help our guys because we understand that that's our workflow. That's where our work's coming from. Majority of our work is through B to B to C, so it's through builders or contractors, and we want to take care of them so they keep using us.
That works. I'll take you back through the mist of time. You're number 8, and I think it's funny. You want to tell me what happened with the chandelier incident?
The chandelier incident, yeah, I think we did an article on that one too.
Yeah, that's
That
what I
was
was
a
supposed.
that was a weird one. The contractor, we just did a floor. And then they came in behind us and the chandelier fell while they were hanging it. And when it hit the floor, it put dents all over in the floor. And then we came back, they're like, you guys got to come back and resand this and we'll work with it. We put in the bid to replace boards that were damaged. But then when we got there and we started to sand it, we could see that we didn't have to replace them because it was sanding out. But then when we water popped it and stained it in 3 coats of water-based polyurethane, every dent that was in the floor had a higher grain race
Comes
because
back.
it came back stronger. So
Pops.
that was a lesson learned. We ended up going back in and the homeowner called us out on that because they saw all the spots. And we ended up going back in and just doing surgery and touch up kits and was able to fix all those spots. But that was definitely a learning experience on our part.
Isn't it interesting what wood will do? I've seen where I've gone in, seen dents and steamed them out. you got to careful because they do raise, like you said. When you're doing woodworking, you get a biscuit joint. That's what they do. They take laminations of wood, they super compress them so that when you put them in the joint and put glue on them, they'll expand tighter.
Yeah.
And like you said, you think you're doing good. Next thing you know, you add a little moisture, and instead of being a dent, now you got a volcano. Do you ever
Yeah.
think in
So
a
that was,
million years that was going to happen? How did this happen?
I, it's science. I mean,
No,
can't
but with
fight.
the chandelier, it sounds like it's out of a movie. How big was this chandelier?
It was massive.
Like
I
big,
mean, it was
massive, gaudy
massive.
chandelier, like
Yeah. I mean,
Titanic.
they were on the contractor was on a ladder and actually, like, he was up there when it fell and fell off the ladder. And I don't know. That was a whole ordeal. He was all right, but it was a lot. It damaged the floor, the staircase. It hit the handrail. So
How does it come down? Were they held with a cable and then
yeah, I'm not exactly sure.
and nobody got hit by it?
Nobody got hit by it, luckily, but yeah, it did some damage.
Like, well, now what do you do?
Mm.
It's not on you, is it?
Yeah, no, it was on the bill. Well, I don't know. I don't. We got paid from the contractor, but I believe that they ended up doing a claim on it and got paid from someone else. But I'm not entirely sure. We would have done it to help out this contractor. If it was on them, then we would have probably cut them a deal just because, we work with them all the time and we appreciate them giving us work all the time. That if one of our contractors gets in trouble and asks us for help, we're willing to help out.
Hey, wood floor pros, this is Kim Walgren, the longtime editor of Wood Floor Business. Do you know a wood floor retailer who deserves to be recognized? Make sure they submit for our 2026 Outstanding Retailer Awards. 5 retailers will be featured in our 2026 contest as an outstanding retailer and be profiled in the magazine. You can find entry info in the show notes for this episode or on the Wood Floor Business homepage. That's it for now. Let's get back to Steven's talk with Josh Hansman from 50 Grit Flooring in Cincinnati.
Do you have the opportunity to do the artistic floor elements here and there? Is that something that you like to do? Because I think that was 7th on your list.
The French knots,
Yeah.
oh, we love doing.
Feature stitch.
We get to see that a lot because there's some history in Cincinnati, and we run into floors that have the French knots every now and then. And a lot of time people want to duplicate them or they want to add it to their new home. So I've had a couple jobs where we've got to do them and we've got to kind of put a modern twist on them. The problem that I have with the French knots is what do you do inside the knots with the wood?
Right.
Because you can't. So, we did one where it ran on a 45 and we actually ran the 45 through the knots. So all the grain would line up going through the knots and, you got to keep the same board going through each knot. So it was kind of just a little twist on it, but keeping it traditional, but throwing a little modern
Does
on
it have
top.
to kind of look like it went out the other side of the knots and carry
Yeah.
on? Yeah. Oh, boy.
Well, just inside the field, it still have a border behind the knot, but then within the field, the grain stays true all the way through.
Do you work on that on site or do you build any of the French knots? How do you put it all together?
That one had to be done on site
On site.
because, yeah. And if we just did it all on site, it wasn't that bad. I'd do it again if somebody saw that one and wanted the same thing.
It's kind of a cool concept because, that's where you toy with the opportunity to go from being a really good, flooring pro to being more of a craftsman. You could feel it, right? You're like, oh, we're going to get a chance to do some craftsman stuff today.
Oh, that one was fun too because they wanted knots. And then when I went there, I think they had like subfloors that changed direction. The joist did. So
yeah.
we're like, you're going to have this room run that way and that room running this way. I'm like, let's do everything. Let's do all the fields on a 45. That way it's all the same direction. And they're like, we like that. And then, they already knew they wanted the knots. I'm like, ooh, you know what we could do? And they're just like, what do you got?
Right.
And I'm like, let's do this. And they're like, I like that.
Do you just wing it or you put it on paper? Like people can't always visualize. I would get a big carpenter's pencil and sketch it right on the plywood and then show them photos and say, this is like, I can picture it. Not everybody can do that. So do you ever have to make sketches and diagrams or to use a CAD system or you just throw some boards down and go, look?
That's kind of what it was. It was kind of just sketches and diagrams and just kind of winging it. The husband was an engineer, so I could explain it to him and he got it. And his wife, she just, even after seeing pictures and stuff, she's like, I trust you. Good.
That's always well, listen, when you get that kind of trust and you have that kind of recognition, do you feel at some point with 50 Grit that you were able to move kind of from, really good floor pros to more of a craftsmanship? Maybe we can be more high profile. I have customers that have been around forever, and they have made this kind of transition to where their reputation is so stellar that people will give them work that's going to be in a magazine. They'll ask them to do really expensive homes and really intricate work. Do people come to you now and go, I love what you did. I want to offer you something more than my dining room?
The one that with the knots, we did their neighbor's house, and they were talking about how awesome their neighbor's house was. So that was a way I kind of sold that when I told them like, if we do this, then your neighbors are going to be jealous of you because your floor will be way better than theirs. So, and we've done that when we did the basket weave. After they closed that one, we try to ease in there and just say, hey, after this floor is done, we think it's gonna be magazine worthy, so do you mind if we submit it to some magazines? And they got all excited about that as well, so
Yeah, we went over it a little bit, your design award, but that was number 6 on your list. Counting down was your design award. So just going over it, what did it mean to you personally, but your team must have been pretty excited about that.
we have meetings every Monday in that conference room, so you walk in there and it's just it's nice that, we're walking across something we did and we won an award for and that and we sit there every Monday and go over Monday morning meetings, so
It's very fleeting, isn't it? It just
it
go
is.
and then you look back and but do you look ahead and go, "We should do more of that?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do. Yeah, the floor wasn't enough, so we did a wall in that same conference room. We got a bunch of bourbon barrel staves,
Oh,
and we did a stave wall. So,
where'd you
we
get
just
those? That's cool.
we found a pallet of them. Somebody was selling them by the pallets, so we
White
bought a
oak
whole pallet.
quarter sawn, I'm guessing?
I don't know, they're so dirty and charred that we can't tell what they are. I mean, they're straight. I didn't realize they're nasty. Like you
Yeah.
just touch them and the char all over it. So we coated them all with traffic raw and just left them natural as can be. So they look rough up there, but it's a cool look and everybody likes that too.
Now they're going to invisible and raw. Stuff is cool looking.
Well, that was the goal. We wanted it to look as dirty and rustic and nasty as possible, but if we didn't put something on it, if you walk in that room and sneeze, it's gonna blow black dust all over the place, so we had to encapsulate it somehow, but make it look like nothing was on it, and that's where that came in. Perfect for it.
That's awesome. So the feedback from those type of projects down the line, were people calling and noticing? Did you get any referral work? Did people say, "Oh, I saw your job that you won the award with, and boy, we'd love to have you"?
Yeah, I don't see that. Like, I post a lot on social media,
Mhm.
like Facebook and Instagram, and my following is going up, but I don't see a lot of jobs coming from that. We are landing more jobs from Google, so I don't know if there's some relation there, but I don't see a lot with Facebook. If it's Facebook, it's usually a referral from one of the mom groups or something from a neighborhood group or something like that.
Is it classic? You're learning more when things go wrong than just going
Of
in and doing a
course.
really good job. Did you ever have any really, really creepy ones that you wish you didn't get involved in?
Oh, floors?
Yeah.
Oh man, there's so many of them.
Right?
You,
It gets
you,
scary.
it does, but then, once you get to the end and you can stand back and look at it, it's like, this one cost us way more time or money than we planned on, but, we got through it, we learned from it, and it looks good in the end. So
What do you learn
that's
from it? You learn a lot, right? It's a
you
lot.
do.
You get humbled real fast.
You do. And I was talking like the guy I had one of my employees with me today standing that floor and he was talking about, who's the best and do I want to be the best? And I'm like, I have no intention. Like that would be miserable because once you're the best, you're you're not going to get any better.
No.
Like all you're going to do is spend your entire life teaching other guys how to be better. And I don't want to be there. Like I like helping other guys out, but I like learning.
I used to think that way, and then I'm really lucky between writing and wood floor business and the podcast. I have met the best of the best of the best of the best. And you know who the best is? I, shuffle the deck. They're not the same. None of these guys from Jaco Waldenberg to Spriglin to Kent Rogerson to Matt Garcia, these You, Jason, Vivash, I meet all,
Yeah,
and you get them together in a room. They are not competitive. They
they're not.
they bust their chops a lot, but every one of them will say, "You know what I learned from that guy? Like I thought, you're the flooring genius. No, I learned this one. Learned from that guy. Everybody mentions Lenny Hall and his math tables and his calipers and Sprig Lynn and his parquet work. And you're right. It's never ending. I've been doing this I will learn something every day at another portion of this industry.
And I keep thinking like it's not you don't want to be the best, but I want at least to be able to be welcomed in the room with all the guys you just mentioned. But in this industry, you don't even have to be good to be in that room. Those guys are that's what's just great about this trade is like you can just walk into that room and you're accepted in that room. You can just say I do floors and they're like, "Well, come on in."
So you're running a business. Okay, so you have to go do a really nice hardwood floor. Somebody's got to sell it, pay the distributor, get the material, pay the people, do the payroll. There's a lot behind the scenes. How much of that business organization do you have to consume every day that's not just out getting the work done?
I don't.
Good, because you
Like that
delegated it.
yes. Yeah.
Who's getting the tough job? Who's getting the accounting, pay the bills?
It's
Do the
scheduling.
Yeah.
Scheduling is the tough job. That's the former boss. He's been doing it the longest. He's most experienced at it. Yeah, he can he can keep doing that. I think when he does finally retire, I that'll probably fall on me, but I'm gonna let him have it as long as he can.
That's why you have a successful business. You gotta look at it and say, "Where do I suck?" Well, let's get somebody really good at that because you can't do it. I love these people. I do everything. I'm self-made, man. I'm self-made. Yes, self-made. There's always somebody self-made that has an office with 40 people in it.
Well, that's why I'm not going into sales. Like I don't do the sales calls at all because I know where I'm at sales. If they want me to come in and just talk to them about floors, I'll talk to them about floors all day. But as far as like actually selling a floor, I don't know. It's a whole different thing.
You gotta work with other trades, right? Everybody wants
We-
to punch the painter out. It's like the natural born enemy of the floor guy is the painter. Somebody's gotta go talk to these guys and say, "Can we please get in here today? And could you get your ladders out of here? Stop
Yeah,
walking
yeah.
on my work."
Well, we don't. We really are pretty good with painters. Like I know
Good.
everybody complains about painters, and we've had issues in the past with them, but with the contractors that we work with, we see the same painters on every job. So we built a relationship with them. We go in and we joke with them, and we know they're there, and we're like, I guess we're stuck on this one again. This job, can you guys stay upstairs and we'll stay downstairs? And they're saying the same thing to us that when we get there, they're like, great, floor guys are here. So
Yeah. This costs the prima donna floor guys. It's be like, "Everybody out. Well, we got
we
work to
don't
do." I go, "Tell
we don't
Mrs. Johnson that you're gonna be walking on her floors."
Yeah, we don't kick them out. We tell them where they're not allowed to walk and where they're
Mhm.
not allowed to be, but if they can, set up a window and go up set up a ladder and go through the window to get upstairs, then they can work upstairs while we're downstairs.
Yeah. That's crazy. What do you think? I think your number one was you had a summary of big lessons learned. In 2025, what were the big things you took from the year that you learned?
Oh, man.
It's been crazy. The price is up, price is down, materials changing, paying people. I think I've tripled what I've had to pay people just to
I've
it was
s
a crazy year.
I've seen that. Man, just trying to build culture, like, trying to keep the guys happy with where they are at and, like, try to make work a second family. I mean, you're at work more than you are at home. So, we try to plan a lot of things to where we show appreciation for the guys and just do a lot of things like that.
Do you do any like company you get together, go paintball shooting or anything? Or everybody just goes home tired, or you guys get together every now and then?
I'd love to do paintball shooting. I'd love to invite
I'm
everybody
telling
to
you,
that.
man, that recommending it. We did it, and it was very cathartic to shoot the people that you work with, and they had
Yeah.
a real good time pelting me. I'll tell you.
Yeah. Our first year, we went to a Reds game. We ended up getting a booth up at the Reds game, and we took a lot of people there. And then we usually do a dinner. We plan a couple picnics through the year. I got some guys now. They're trying to plan an overnight kayak trip for the gang.
That's cool. 50 grit. What do you think your percentage in the time that you've been building it, what percentage is referrals and what percentage you think you got to go out and actually get work or advertise? Do you do any basic advert, or is it just social media?
We're 100% referrals.
Yeah.
And it's word of mouth. The company that I took over, they were established for 20 years, and that was 100% referrals. So one of the things that I also got was their phone line. So people still called that company just looking to have floors done. So we don't do any advertising. So
It's funny. I saw some of your stuff online, and if you think about it, I'm like, well, i- if you post things online, like Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever,
yeah,
Instagram, X, is it advertising? I'm like, no, it's actually referral.
it's a portfolio, and I kind of use that before we got a website developed. Yeah, I could just tell people like go to Instagram and look up 50 grit. Like you're going to find endless amount of stuff, So we use that a lot before that, but it's credibility because when people look up your name and they want to, find out if you're established or not, they're going to look you up, and you don't know where they're going to look you up. They might look you up on Facebook or they might go to your website. You don't know, so you want to try to be as many places as you can.
Sure. What do you guys do? Most people do. Do you free estimates? Estimates? How do you work that out?
Yeah, we do free estimates. We have a pretty high close rate, and being a referral company, a lot of times when we show up, we're referred from 2 or 3 different people. So, it's not uncommon for us to walk in referred by the neighbor, and then we know the cabinet maker, or they have a painter that knows us, and then all that does is build our referral. The house we were at this morning staining, it is our 3rd time at this house, and every time we've been there, it's been a different referral source.
That works.
That's the first time I've been through that situation. And then we might have even have been there a 4th time to do some LVP in their bathroom because I saw that and it kind of came back a little bit, but it's cloudy. But yeah, it's kind of crazy.
You know what? The craziest thing in the last decade was COVID. But the cool thing is I watched 30 years of hardwood flooring people out there with a lot of experience. And I'm a buck 25. I'm a buck 50, a buck 70. I was a buck 75. They thought I was crazy. Then $2. Coming out of COVID, 450 to stand, another buck 50 for a stain. It made me want to jump back into flooring. Like, do you still have those guys that are out there for a buck and the guys that are in there for $9? Is your market as crazy as ours?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, they're all over the place, and sometimes we'll turn in an estimate, and they'll say, "Oh no, somebody's doing it for this much," and we're just like, "All right." I
Fine.
mean, that's fine. We're not fighting on that. But I loved COVID. I thought COVID was a good time for us. We had enough relationships with contractors, and we were a necessity trade, so we could keep working. And then all COVID was wide open roads for us, no traffic.
No. Oh, you're not kidding. And guess what? We were all essential.
Yeah.
What's your company? What's 50 Grit look like? Balanced out percentage, however you want to break it up. Hardwood, LVT, refinishing, repairs. What do you think the bulk of your work's coming from?
Oh man, we're mostly hardwood. Probably majority refinishing is pretty heavy. It keeps shifting, Like I've seen pre-finish kind of go down a little bit and site finish come up.
When you're working, when you finally do get a chance to do the French knots and the feature strip and stuff, a lot of guys can't do them. A lot of guys love to try to do them. A lot of guys do them super fantastic. What do you think separates that craftsman that will take those on from the average just installer that says, listen, I just want to put down some wood and go? Is it the drive to want to do something more creative?
Well, that's the weird thing. There's some guys that don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Like they steer away from it.
Yep.
And when they do that, they can call me and I'll go do it. I don't mind.
Fine with
I
me.
don't mind. Or I'll even come and I'll help them do it and I'll show them how to do it. Like I said, we don't have competition in my area. So if somebody in my area wanted to do something like that and didn't know how to start, yeah, call me up. I'll come walk you through it. I mean,
That'll work. What did your day look like today? Because I'm going to give you your rapid fire questions and we'll wrap things up. But what were you doing this morning? You got tied up on a Saturday.
staying on the floor. It was a house that was going up on the market and we were supposed to come in and do a buffing coat. This was Monday, and we came in, and the guys before us that sanded the floor, it was terrible. It was like a gray color, dark gray floor, and the sand job was just so bad. I had to call the homeowner and be like, "Look, this house it needs more than a buffing coat. And we started sanding it, and the next thing you know, we find pea spots everywhere. So then it turns into repairs. So instead of getting it stained this week, it kind of piled over into the weekend. We water popped it last night and had to go in there this morning to make sure we get it stained so we can stay on schedule. So the carpet people can come in behind us and do the second floor. So,
All right. I just came up with something. I'm going to throw this at you. All right. I'm going to test you. 200-foot dining room, white oak 2 1/4 strip, brand new. You just put it in. Okay. Eventually, we're going to stain this. But what's your grit progression? How do you start this job?
brand new job,
Yep, brand new.
raw wood.
Roll.
We have been doing power drives.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
And we just roll through start to finish power drive.
No big machine, just go right to the power drive. Okay.
Yeah. We'll do
Do you need
36.
ceramic paper for that, or is that a bad thing?
We do ceramic 36, 60.
Yep.
And then we go over to power mesh and do 80, 100, 120.
Why'd you go to the power mesh?
I think it goes a little bit farther. It takes longer before it starts to burnish.
Yep.
And it's just a finer scratch pattern.
You know what? That's the point. I tell people all the time, why do you keep progressing with ceramics and then telling me that it does a beautiful job, but there's mark everywhere? Because when you get to the black paper, the cheaper paper, it dulls out. It doesn't fracture and stay sharp as glass. I had that yesterday. I said to a guy, grab some power mesh and put those discs away. Exactly. Perfect answer. Now, what grit do you get to before you decide to put some stain on this floor?
We go to 120
Okay, perfect.
on all the floors. Even if we're doing natural, we still go to 120.
What's your next step?
We pop most floors.
Yeah.
Yes.
I pop them all, other than we found that in some species it can cause checking, and I got to cool with that.
Oh my gosh. So that's something that is really guys that have gone from oil to water base.
Yep.
Shakes.
Yep.
Have been a nightmare nonstop all the time. You see them more in, I think, red oak common. I think you see more in red oak common than any others than white oak or select. So yeah, we've been fighting shakes all the time.
I noticed that. I've been a distributor for 30 years, and people would come to me and I'd say, well, you got a water pop, and here's why. And then all of a sudden, after several years, we got into the better water-based finishes, and that's when we started hearing the buffer grab some shake and tore it up.
With the shakes, one of the things we learned with shakes is you evolve. So you start looking for the shakes during the install. And then while you're sanding, you can hear a shake sometimes. You can run over a board with the sander and it'll kind of have a hollow sound to it. And sometimes you can hear them when you're sanding. If we catch a shake while we're installing or while we're sanding, it's a board replacement.
Yep.
Like you get him out now.
Yep.
We've also found that CA glue is really good for shakes.
Just
we like that.
Glue it and press it. Cut it back.
Squirt the CA glue in there and spray it and then scrape it and sand it again. As long as water can't get into it, it usually doesn't come up.
Gotcha.
And then the wax kits are good if you already stained.
Sure.
And then you got to come back and touch them up. Yeah, we use carpet pads. Carpet pads, buff on the perimeter, and then carpet pads the middle.
Just the middle. Yep, that makes sense. All right, so you're doing the board replacement. What's the tool of choice now? Because I used to cross-cut this, that, the other thing. Not anymore. I got a whole other method. How are you taking boards out?
Multi-tools.
Yeah, I love that thing.
Multi-tool and track saw.
Would you rather have a Home Depot, Lowe's multi-tool, or would you rather have like a fine multi-tool or a Festool or a...
We went all Milwaukee just because cordless, because everything's battery powered now.
Yeah.
So we just try to stay to one brand. That way you're only carrying one battery.
I got a cheap one I can do door jams with, but I wouldn't replace a board with that. And then I got this one. It weighs about 6 pounds, and it's like scalpel. It's laser perfect. Oh man, it's the greatest thing when you do board replacement and with confidence. Like, that doesn't scare me. Here we go.
Yep.
I got your rapid fire questions if you're ready for them.
Oh, man.
Here's how they work. And guys suck at this, but I'm supposed to make them simple. You're supposed to answer them quick. And we're not supposed to totally elaborate on it, but we'll figure it out. You get the gist.
Let's do it.
I'm going to throw them at you. Here you go. What's the one tool in your shop that you would fight a bear to protect?
A hammer.
Good. Specific type of hammer? Floor mallet hammer?
I just had it for a real long time, and I don't like guys getting glue all over it.
Good for you. What's harder? Matching up an old parquet or a weaved knot inlay, or meeting your homeowner's expectations?
Meeting the homeowner's
Yeah. Ding,
expectation.
ding, ding, ding. That's a winner. If you didn't do all of this and wind up in flooring just like the rest of us, what do you think you would have been doing or preferred doing?
My high school, whatever, job placement test said I'd be a concrete sculptor.
Really?
I think that'd be pretty cool.
There you go. I like that. Did you have any particular job that you worked on or walked away from that you said, this job's just driving me crazy? Just was totally nuts.
No, I've never walked off a job and no. I've been
Or
kicked
that
off
what you
some.
completed and said, I really could have gone without that one.
No, every job's a learning experience.
I'm not happy sanding animal urine, but okay, I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
In all the species of wood that you worked with, which one do you think fits your personality the best?
Oh, man. I don't know. That's a tough one. Black walnut.
If any one of your floors could talk to you that you've done, which one do you think would roast the living crap out of you? That'd be like, listen, man, this was brutal.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of them. It'd probably be one that we've had to resand.
I know those are all.
Like, what are you doing? Why are you resanding me 3 times?
All right, cool. Can people see, like, I know they can go to Wood Floor Business and see all the stuff that you've done. Did you just go up and you just, Google 50 Grit Flooring or Josh Hansman? But do you have like a website that you want to let me know about?
Yeah. 50 Grit Flooring.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I think everything's under 50 Grit. They were trying really hard to stick that as the brand. So
what do you got coming up in the near future? Anything cool? Got any really good projects you're about to kick off?
well, it's not really a project. This June, we're planning a casino night. It's just,
Can I go?
well, it's a charity fundraiser
Fine.
for All Dogs Come From Heaven. And our goal is to just, we've never really been a big charity company because, building a new company, you take all the money you can to reinvest it. So it's an opportunity to give back. And one of our goals is we're shooting for like 120 people, have some tables, some food, and just
Gambling and
kinda-
helping dogs. How'd you come up with the dog part of it?
we just picked a charity. The former boss, he works with that company all the time already.
Yeah.
So we just kind of stuck with that one. So, and I yeah, dogs and gambling.
And gambling. Listen. You're talking. You're getting me going here. Look at this. You can't see this outside the podcast, but she's been in the whole podcast. She's 10 weeks old. She didn't bark once, did she? She's been sleeping
No.
here. She's sound asleep.
Perfect.
She did really, really good. You want to go gamble?
Yeah.
Let's go with him. Let's go. Listen.
So that's one of the things we're really building up right now is we're putting a lot of time and effort into trying to plan that, send out the invites, try to get the right people to show up. And,
yeah.
All Dogs Come From Heaven's going to bring some dogs and have some dogs there and they'll be up for adoption and, it'll kind of be fun.
Is it a gaming night or is it going to be like at a casino or something?
No, we're going to host it,
Yeah.
and we have casino company coming in, bringing tables, dealers. It's all going to be fun.
It's like a Monte Carlo night with dogs.
Yeah, Monte Carlo night, yeah.
Oh, I'm moving to your neck of the woods.
So I think it's going to be a good time. It's going to be somewhat customer appreciation because we'll invite some of our contractors that we love so much, and then try to get some new people to come through and let them know that we're there and see our store.
Well, Josh Hansman, 50 Grit. I got to thank you. I'm glad we finally got a chance to get together. It's always fun talking with floor pros. I love it. And I appreciate you taking the time on a Saturday to hang out with me.
Yeah, I love it too.
All right. I will catch up with you. Listen, if you get to be a superstar and all this works out well for you, invite me to the next puppy gambling event. Because I would love that.
Sir.
All right.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, man. Thanks, buddy.
All right.
Take care of yourself. All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you to Josh Hansman for sharing his wood flooring story with us on All Things Wood Floor. You can find links to his articles in the show notes for this episode. Thanks for listening.